somebody just said my mic was muted. Wow,
You
that was
keep
quick. You
doing
caught it.
that. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's not really me. I just talk too fast, I guess. From that end, I
Just
thought
jump right
automatically
in.
once they, turn it over, our good engineers turn it over, that it automatically supposed to go to mute. I don't know.
Go from mute.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
from mute. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
I thought so too. But hey, you never
We're all
know.
here tonight. We're very glad. Hopefully, everybody made it through the storm.
That wasn't a storm.
That wasn't. It was a tropical
It
storm.
was it, it was a break in work. That's
Yeah.
pretty much all
It,
it was.
it was.
It was a couple of windy days.
Exactly, it was. Hey, make sure
Yes.
you go share. Share. That's right. We want you to go share with your friends, share with your wife, share with your husband, share with your boyfriend, share with your girlfriend. Just share. Even share with the enemy. I want you to share before we get moving. Got a good topic: compatibility. Our compatibility part 2 today, where we're talking about, is going to be even that much more better. You got to be prepared for it. You got to let some people
Yes.
know about it. Sorry, we have not been here for the last 2 times. The weather
No, it
was
was
number
just
one.
last time.
Last time I thought it was before. I thought it was twice.
No, it was just last time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I guess it's one time from that
Yes.
end.
Yes.
I trust. I don't
But
remember
we
that.
are back,
Mhm. Why
and
you just look at me like that? Just blow me off like that.
I didn't.
Just because I didn't remember it was 2
No,
times. You just
I
rolled your
didn't.
eyes at me
I did
and
not.
everything. Okay.
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, I've got an eye issue that started a few
Yeah,
minutes
I
ago.
know the sister girl
Well,
eye
no,
issue.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
this
Roll your eyes.
I got eyelash in my eye.
Oh, you
and
got
I'm-
an eyelash
and I'm
in
and
your
I
eye.
tried to.
You don't have no eyeliner.
I know I've
Okay.
got eyelash.
Stop batting them at me just to try to make them.
No, seriously, that's what it is.
Okay.
I've got this problem with one of them. I was
Okay.
just digging in it
Is that what it
right
was?
before we went on.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so anyway, yeah,
I-
I'm good.
You're good now.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking while we were talking about this, the compatibility, I was also thinking about how so many things in relationships right now are going such astray to at the same time,
Yes.
and not necessarily resulting in some good, how can I say, takeaways. Am I right?
That absolutely.
Well, one of the good takeaways I want to say on not WRUU, which is the radio
ATR.
station that we do, but we do that at WRUU.
Yeah.
Every Thursday,
Saturday
that's
at 9:00
9
in the
o'clock
morning.
in the morning,
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time.
You're gonna get those times right.
No,
one of these
I'm not going to
days.
get a time. I'm not worried about the time.
Okay.
I mean, they'll get it later on. We'll, show it up
Yes.
there. And one of these days we'll have you be on the computer so you can roll
I'll,
across that.
you know what, baby?
And then you understand the frustration of doing
no,
2,
no.
3, 4 things at once.
That's
Or you
what
sit there just looking pretty in the microphone.
That's what I'm saying. You know what, sweetheart? You do such a
Well,
great
then
job.
I would love to hear that more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to a point. So let me get to the point.
Go ahead.
The point I'm trying to get to is that now our show, as other shows on this station or this channel, is now on Roku. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yes.
It's on Roku. So we have moved on up on the east side on that Roku platform in the sky.
Yes.
So you need to go to Roku if you got Roku on your television, and a streaming phone, telephone, or or your laptop, and you want to search for what?
Our Black Media.
And download it and put it up on your screen, so it's on your home screen. Is I guess that's what they call it. And hopefully you would choose to put it towards the top.
We're located in the category of community.
Exactly. So we got a lot of good programs that are on now Roku that are connected to what you get to see here. But now people all over the world get a chance to see it even that much more in a new, upgraded way that shows are streamed as they should be. Because quite frankly, the over-the-air shows are bygones. In the next 4 or 5 years, they just won't exist. Everything's going to be streamed up over the internet, so anybody and everybody all over the world can get it on their little phones, on the tablets, or wherever else. You might be able to get it on a little screen on your
watch.
On your refrigerator.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From that end.
Exactly.
It could be
and it feels pretty neat being
on
a station like that. So thank you, Julius.
Yeah, exactly. What did your family? What did your son say when you sent it out? Hopefully, you might see this too. I don't know if he's looking at it live. Did we tell him it was on this day too? Live, because we're on Roku right now. If it's live, I think it's rolling live.
He says, what if you don't have Roku? I said, then get it.
Exactly.
And then I told him how he could watch us on Facebook and move on from there. And my daughter sent a
Mhm.
You know how they do the liked what you
Mhm.
wrote. She sent that, and so they seem to be a little bit proud of us.
Well, I'm glad that they are from that end. We should be proud of ourselves. Okay. Well, we're talking about compatibility.
We are.
We're talking about compatibility, right?
Yes.
And
And you know what?
what's that?
We are compatible because
Mhm.
we knew
Because
we
we're
were
color
going to
coordinated.
relate.
Because oh no, I'm sorry.
Well,
I
that too.
messed you up. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. You already give us our mission.
Because we knew we were going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't care what anybody said, and we
Mm-hmm.
still don't care because we're still relating.
Yes.
And we are friends.
Mm-hmm.
We started off as friends.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Well, we tried to, that is.
well, we did. We
In our
built,
own way.
yeah, we
Yeah.
did. And we built
Yeah.
that friendship, and we built that lovership, and we built that companionship.
We worked on it as on the job training because it was experience that you really didn't much have.
Yeah, it was definitely
Mhm.
it's
It was an
still
idea. We'll talk
yeah,
about that later on. It was an ideal, but
exactly.
it wasn't something that you
Yes.
really experienced. I had more
Yes.
experience in it than you really did.
And it's still on the job training.
For both.
I think every day is on the job training simply
Mhm.
because we also have different personalities.
So we're going to relate.
We are going to relate,
Mm-hmm.
and we are relating.
Does it make a difference? What?
But your mother, father, sister, brother, children, uncles, aunties,
Mm-hmm.
or even Jesus says we are going to relate, and we
Mhm.
have related, and we are friends.
Trying to relate in a way that's what?
That's balanced,
Yeah.
and with that balance, this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And with that balance, we have friendship, we have lovership,
Mm-hmm.
and we put that together, and we have a thriving
Relationship. So
relationship.
much more between friendship and love.
Oh, it is.
Lovership.
It
There's
is.
so much
That's kind of
different.
simplified.
Exactly. So much different facets, like a
Yeah.
diamond,
Yeah.
is in between. Because you
Like-
can look at those things as being too extreme.
Exactly.
You notice on media and TV shows, you see people who are friends but no lovers, and they're lovers but they're not friends. You don't do that,
Right.
except for a catastrophe comes, the world's coming to the end, a giant spider's around the corner to eat him up, or anything like, I know what you're shaking your head because it is. Then all of a sudden, when they're in that huddle little corner, or they're getting ready to have the moon explode, and there's gonna be nothing left, and all of a sudden,
friends become lovers.
yeah, exactly. Those friends become lovers.
Then it's okay. I've always been wanting to do
I
this.
know, exactly.
We'd have to live and face each other, but now we're gonna die. So let's just see what it's like for one time.
Yeah,
right.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but hey, that's what they push.
Yeah.
And that is something, because we'll talk about that later on. How in life and death situations, friendship can be created.
Yes.
Or sometimes friendship is already there in that life or death situation.
Right.
In another particular, how can I say it? Compatible relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for a long time, and it's drive them to be very, very, very close, because of life and death is something they deal with mostly all the time.
Right.
But right now we're going to continue down the path that has to do with our relationship with compatibility. How I was talking about with the article you were reading for me about how in the Black community, a lot of African American women are not getting married again, or can't get married again, or really not can't, but don't want to get married again.
They're not in a relationship.
Exactly. And it's not really have to do with no suitors or no men out there. It could be to do with some situations where they feel like, I don't want to try this again, that this is an uncomfortable thing to give it a try, or I'm just not going to put up with this the trying of another particular man, or I don't really have the know-with-all when it comes to doing a relationship and start that dating thing again. Am I pretty close to it? I think that's what the article
exactly, because what happens is sometimes females have gone through so much thing, and it's like that song, I can do
Better by Myself by Mary J. Blige.
Yeah. And women just get to the point because they keep getting into these negative relationships. But what happens is you call to yourself, and I found this out, you call to yourself who you think you are. You call yourself to yourself in the partners that you choose. And if you have not a good self-image, you're going to look for someone who also has not a good self-image, and you're going to end up in that same negative space, even though you're still pushing forward and you're still pushing through, you're still making things happen, you can see their faults more than you can see yours. And so from that standpoint, you give up. A lot of women will just give up and say, I can get an apartment, I can get a house, I can get a car, I can take care of all my bills, I can, I've got a job and I've got a really good job. Why do I need somebody who is going to infringe on that and not give me anything
you might
in
as well
return?
speak the most damning word that's out there that is said by many women and some men who don't want to hear it. I don't need a man.
Which is
but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of
yeah.
women who sell themselves that bill of goods. I don't need a man.
Well, but you just spoke of those things, and we're gonna hold on to that.
Yeah,
what you talked about, because it's in the realm of independent, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Even though our subject today is all about compatibility.
Yes,
but we're going to talk about that because I think that's very, very important, especially when it comes to our relationship and how we relate it from that end. In that article that I had you read that you're referring to. But anyway, you were going to say more.
But when they say things like that, like I don't need a man or whatever, then they are certainly not being hot.
Oh, okay. Time for the button to come up.
Time for the button to come up.
Okay.
That's perfect segue into it. We still have buttons, hot buttons. They're still available, and we still have bills to pay. ATR still has bills to pay.
ATR wants some bills to pay.
And now with Our Black Media, even more bills to pay. So, please make sure you purchase your $5 button and show people that you are hot in your relationship and you are compatible and you are being honest, open, and transparent with your mate, and your mate is doing the same. I got likewise.
My hot button too. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And also too, if you know any church, if you know any restaurant, if you know of any insurance business, if you know any of those kind of businesses in your community, and it doesn't make a difference where it is across the country, and you would like to, like say, support Taking the Journey Together, our program, we would love to have you as a sponsor, because we could use some sponsors on our on our streaming channel, especially since we're on Roku, and things have went up in price, and we know we're giving you some good information to take with you, some good information that in turn are helping you right now. Preacher said, put it in the deep freezer, you can use it another time. So please get a hold of the this particular television station or this particular channel. I'm pretty sure that you'll get the information at the end. If not, you can always go to us right here. You can see our information at the bottom, Taking the Journey Together, and send us a nice note that says, I like your show. It's a good show. I'm getting something out of it. I've sent it on to somebody else that's helped them out. And I'd love to be able to sponsor your program on our program,
Media.
All Black Media.
Yes.
I was basically saying on Roku because that's such a wide, vast amount of audience that we're trying to get to and make it a station that's going to have its name to itself. So please be able to do that. We'd love to have you be able to do it. So back to what you were saying on that matter of that article I gave to you. It was about what Black women and Black men are saying about their relationship being single. I think that's what it was.
It was mainly Black married men who were giving their understanding or their ideas as to why so many Black women are not in relationships with Black men.
Yeah.
And
notice they were married, so that means they were getting their ideas and experience from who?
Their wives.
They were getting from the wives and all of their wives friends who were not, because there are some wives who are married. I don't know if you're getting that right now. You've never told me this as of yet, but sometimes there will be that wife's friend or relative who asked, how you get along with that particular husband of yours? He ain't this and this and this, or he's this and this for you. I'm kind of jealous. They won't say it.
They never say that.
Exactly. So how are you two doing this? You know what I'm talking about? And I would bet that's where those Black men got their information from, because I know it didn't get off the top of their head either.
And it's even more than that, because women will sit down and talk to each other about things in a different way. So what they will say is, sometimes it will come out like, I I don't want to get in a relationship right now. And then you'll just start having that conversation
Mm-hmm.
about that. Why not? Especially when they've just gotten out of one. Or you'll have the female who has settled down, who has
Mm-hmm.
gotten married and everything, doesn't hang out like she did before.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, why won't you? And why aren't you? And,
Mm-hmm.
well, why do you still do that? Or somebody will say, you're too old to be acting like you did when you were 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
things of that sort. But then sometimes you have that friendship, that real close sister friendship, who you can just talk about things, whether you're in a relationship or out of a relationship, whether you want a relationship or don't want a relationship, you can talk about all of those
So do,
different
do
things.
so do you think that that kind of conversation is the oh yeah, it would be the conversation that they
Yeah.
would get as husband. It'd be that pillow talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pillow talk
Yeah.
conversation.
So,
So did you think some of the reasons were very valid? Because I thought they were very valid.
yeah.
I wish we would have brought that out. Maybe next time we'll give them a link that they can
Mhm.
look at this particular articles. Because all of those were I spoke of some of them that were very valid. Do you remember some others? Because there was quite a few of them.
Yeah, I know, and I can't think of them right now. I read it at the wrong time where,
Mm-hmm.
I was going through it,
Mm-hmm.
but then
You were at school.
Shh. So I was kind of distracted
Distracted.
when I was reading it. But
But I mean,
but
when you think about it, a lot of them were very common statements that I know you've heard. Because I know as a male, I've heard these statements when I was married in my first marriage, and
mhm,
then talking to a lot of women that I've
yeah,
talked to who have been married
yeah,
who would say the same exact thing. Even
mhm,
the ones I knew who were now single and divorced,
yeah,
and they would say the same thing. So a lot of them were the same verbiage. It was just kind of more clear in
mhm,
how it was presented. Would
yeah,
you not say?
yeah. I my 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 real life experience, I have had women say, I've been alone so long, I don't know if I can be with a
Mm-hmm.
man like that. Or sometimes it's like I don't want to share my life because
Yeah.
I've never had to. Um,
Mhm.
and so, to a certain extent, I see that as a
Mhm.
defeatist attitude.
Mm.
And when I say that is because you don't have to be in a long-term committed relationship right off the bat.
Mhm.
If you start a relationship with somebody, you started as you're building that friendship, as we
Mhm.
talk about all the
Could
time.
be casual, that you're referring
Exactly,
to? Kinda like
exactly.
how you started with me,
Yeah,
we're kinda casual?
yeah, and
Mhm.
you're still able to share
So is
experiences
one night
because you
stands
have,
open?
and we're not even gonna go down that road.
I'm just saying.
For some
Maybe you
people,
do a that's how
for
you do that's how you do a Model T, car. Ooh, ooh,
but
one night
see,
stand, one night
but
stand,
see,
one night stand.
but a one night
Casual, move on.
stand is not building friendship.
Okay. Okay.
That's going from the wrong direction.
Okay.
That's
I
not
was
building.
joking, actually.
I know, but I was, yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I just was joking.
But yeah.
Mm.
But as what I was saying
Mhm.
along those lines is, if you are doing something and just sharing, you're spending time with somebody,
Mhm.
casual time,
Mhm.
but you're still experiencing things, you're also showing that compatibility that you have for that person.
Exactly. Hey, we please, if you got some questions, you got concerns, please don't let us keep talking because we can go on and turn. No question is stupid whatsoever. We do have some kind of sheepskin, if you call it, a relationship a
Coaching.
coaching from that particular end. But I know pretty much those who are listening to us can tell we got some kind of experience and sense in this. So anyway, we would like to hear from you. Don't make it just us. So give
Yeah.
us some questions, put some things up there.
Even
Say if you like it or if you don't like it, one of the two. We really would in turn and say I need that, especially for
yeah.
our channel that we're
Yeah.
working in.
Yeah.
They want to know that this program is well worth for being on the channel, and
Mhm.
plus at the same time, altogether, this channel wants to feel that they're giving out some good
Yeah.
substance in information that's going to help in
Yeah.
the community, which is why our category on Roku
Yeah.
is community. I thought we were going to put us in relationship, but they put us in community, which is
I,
all right.
but we're there.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
and you can also add comments and things of your experiences along the lines of
Exactly.
what we're talking
And,
about.
and don't be
So,
scared.
yeah.
Don't be scared. We're not talking anything that's over your head. We're not talking anything that you can't actually put into practice, but you can. You can put it into practice. Now, on that last note that you talked about, that had to do with and the reasons why some African American women or Black women are not married, or excuse me, not getting married again at a high percentage, because that's out there.
Yeah.
As a one that I want to take a look of how that had to do with you, because I gave you that article because it was something that you said to me that had to do when you got out of your first 30-year marriage, and you said it was because of the fact that you were so tired of being the one that led that relationship, that was the one who was really running the show. A kind of typical conversation you hear out of a lot of relationships, especially African American relationships, where that woman is like, I'm running the show, I'm growing him up, and I'm well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm getting tired. I didn't say it was just you, but I'm saying that's one of the
That's some of the things they say.
And I'm tired of doing this, and I want to either have this man step up or I'm going to step off. In this particular case, you stepped off in this particular case. And so there's that other particular part that we're talking about, where that woman, and I don't know, it was mentioned in the article, that I'm tired of this. I might as well, we talked about it on the radio show, do like Mary J. Blige. I can do bad by myself. I always say I can do better by myself. And so I'll just do this thing on my own, and I don't really need to have another man, which comes from that statement you hear a lot of times. I don't need another man.
Yeah. And see, and I was never to the point of I don't need another man. I needed some time alone. And when I say alone, I just mean out of a relationship with someone where I could reacquaint myself with me.
Well, how much time did you take to do that?
Not enough.
You ain't kidding me, because you didn't tell me that when I came along.
Well,
I should have known that.
And here's the thing.
What's that?
I was going through so much at that time that I could not rationalize or actually pinpoint where I was and what I needed. I just knew I needed to be out of that relationship.
And I feel you on that, because of my aunts, my mom, and other women that I've been with will almost voice that exact same thing. I just needed to get out of this. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've talked with some brothers that I know of who say the same thing about their relationship. I need to get out of that. I'll quote something that comes from the Ohio player Sugarfoot. I don't want you no more, girl. I want to be free. Oh yeah. Some of the guys I sit around doing some other stuff I ain't gonna tell you about. We play that song and we be saying it word by word. I want to be free.
Yeah, and with me, it wasn't so much that I wanted to be free as it was I wanted to breathe. And that was, it was a bad situation. The compatibility was gone.
Yeah.
The companionship was gone. It was just like we were just this side of roommates as far as I was concerned. And I didn't need a roommate.
Yeah.
I wanted a relationship or nothing.
Yet that friends many times are roommates.
Yeah.
I think that piece here has a lot to do with where friendship was really not something that was entered into the picture, because ideally you felt like friendship is important or should happen, but it wasn't happening in that relationship.
No.
So you didn't even know how to operate or present it or make it express itself and come to pass.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. The person that you're with probably didn't know much about it too at the same time, which is why you were saying, I don't want this no more.
Yeah. And we started off with, as friends, but somewhere along the line, and I can't even pinpoint today where that friendship,
no real experience in friendship,
went awry.
No real experience in friendship.
Exactly.
In a intimate marriage relationship. Notice I had to add on that.
Yeah.
In a intimate.
Exactly.
To say that friendship doesn't exist.
No.
Come on now. We're
Yeah.
talking about friendship doesn't exist enough in intimate marriage
Right.
relationships. That's what
Exactly.
we're talking about.
Exactly.
Or long-term relationships.
Yeah.
It ain't no way we're saying friendships don't exist. We're talking about real friendship. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
associate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you did not have that real practice, that real
Right.
experience, really didn't look into it. So
Exactly.
it was good when it happened.
Yeah.
Not knowing that if you kept that as a basis for your relationship and all that comes along with the
Mm-hmm.
expansion of it, I would feel sad right now, but you wouldn't be with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be still in that relationship,
Yeah.
that friendship relationship. I'm
Exactly.
pretty sure you would have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure too. You know,
Mm.
but people come into your life for
A
a
reason,
reason, a
season, and
season, or a lifetime.
a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And so there were some reasons because I learned some things.
Mm-hmm.
It was a season because it just, it had its span of time,
Mm-hmm.
and the lifetime is you.
Well, we talked about on our radio show how when you got out of that relationship because of the fact that you really didn't have experience in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
friendship, I'm sorry,
I know
that you basically took that other extreme in. I want now someone pretty much to take care of me to a certain extent. Because we talked about, and in so many words, I don't want to run the show. I want them to run the show.
I wanted
in,
I wanted the show run together.
Well,
but
you say that, but you really haven't experienced it.
I have,
and your actions upon it
Yeah.
prove it, because, or should I say, your lack of actions
Mhm.
upon it
Yeah.
really did not
and
bear that out.
And that's why, but that's what I wanted, but just because it's what I wanted did not mean I was equipped for
Is
it.
that not like everybody?
Yeah.
This is something that we say we want, we don't necessarily do. You
Yeah.
know, as someone said, it's called continent, what? Dissidence?
Cognizant.
Yes, dissidence,
Mhm.
where it's something that you really believe, but guess
Yeah.
what? You're not really
Yeah.
acting upon
Yeah.
it. I didn't know that those two things can be in one place.
Yeah.
But they can be. They really can be.
Yeah. There were just so many things that I was dealing with then that half of the things that I needed to be dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
they were buried so far beneath the surface that they couldn't be dug up. It's kind of like, when you have carpeting down for several years
Mm-hmm.
and you vacuum 2-3 times a week, and
Mm-hmm.
the vacuum cleaner bag fills up, and you think, oh, I got all this mess up and out. And then after X amount of years, you pull the rug up and you see all that crud underneath.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been dealing with, all that crud after that rug has been pulled up.
Exactly.
And that stuff, it's debilitating.
Yeah.
It's true. It truly is.
Yeah.
And so as far as coming into the relationship saying, okay, I know I can take care of myself. I can pay bills. I can, hold a job. I can, do whatever I need to do. I can cook. I can do my food. I can handle me. And I'm okay being alone.
Every woman.
I never wanted to be every woman.
Me. Hey,
never wanted to do that.
When Chaka Khan came out, Mrs. Chaka Khan came out with it. I even fell in love. I'm like, get me every woman.
But the thing of that is, it's one thing to want to be able to fend for yourself. It's another thing to think that's life. I never thought that was life. It was taking care of doing all of that was a necessity, not a desire.
Well, I think what you're trying to say, because in a relationship we should be healers and at the same time what? Friends and builders.
Right.
We need both of them, not
Right.
just one without the other. On the healing side, I think what you're trying to say to help you heal in that matter is sometimes it could be looked upon as being extremes.
Yes.
And not necessarily a balance from that
Yes.
end. And one of the things I introduced to you during that time, because you wanted ideally that balanced relationship,
Yes.
as I gave before in the radio station, listening and observing from my aunts, from my mom, from other women in my life. They talked about, I want a man that is in turn to able to do what I'm doing. I want a man to also be able to cook and clean. Basically, we're saying that the man I'm with, I'm taking care of him most of the time.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of taking care of him. They need to step to the plate.
Yeah.
And or let's say shit or get off the pot.
Yes.
And so most of the time when I heard that from them, they usually would say the remedy is I want to go to, not necessarily another man that's doing everything for me. They really talk about, I want to go to a man that is equal to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
equal to me,
Yeah.
who can do what I can do, say what I can say,
Mhm.
work the things that I can work, and we could become a better partner. We could become better in business management and whatever else. Some of the sisters that I met in my life, I talked to in my life,
Yeah.
that's what they refer to. It wasn't the other way around, where now I want a man just to take care of me
Yeah.
from that end. That book that I gave you, that I'm
Mhm.
now referring back to,
Yeah.
that kind of helped out during that meantime, so that you wouldn't necessarily go to that extreme
Right.
because of no experience, but the relationship of this guy being drug along for the ride is dead.
Mhm.
I ain't doing this no more.
Right.
And if I get into another relationship, I'm going to try to do something new that I really have never experienced before. But the fact is, that baggage, that dead relationship is still hanging on to you.
Yeah.
You haven't really did anything to cut it. You haven't did
Exactly.
anything to learn how to love
Yourself.
yourself, because you were
Mhm.
given so much of yourself. You were being sometimes vampired by the other person, that you really didn't know how to love yourself, let alone have enough love to give it to anyone else,
Yeah.
meaning to share it with
Right.
someone else. And there was that book. What was that book I presented to you that I even read it myself? I thought was very good, because actually a sister presented it towards me, and I had a little problem with wanting to read it, but I did. I thought it was a very good book. What was that
And
book,
it's
Sharon?
it's In the Meantime by Iyanla Vanzant, and I can see that being beneficial to men too, because there are a lot of men who are um dealing with baggage that they're bringing along,
Mm-hmm.
and some of that baggage is from girlfriends that treated them wrong when they were in
Mm-hmm.
high
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
things that didn't go right for them, their relationship with their mothers, their relationship with their fathers, their sisters and brothers. Those things they take into the relationship too. The relationship between their parents,
Mm-hmm.
where they were just a bystander on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things can really work with you, and you take it on as it's just everyday life until something comes up where you need to dissect it, and that's one of the things that In the Meantime will do for you.
I
It'll help
didn't.
you
I have, as a man, I
dissect it.
really didn't see it that way.
Mhm.
Though I can understand how it can be presented, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
When I read it, I'm talking about my story. When I read it, it gave me a better understanding of women, especially Black women.
Mhm.
Looking at how my mom related to the world and related to me for years, coming
Yeah.
out of a single parent family, it helped me have what I call a backstory. I
Yeah.
better understand the backstory. I ain't necessarily said I like it, because I had PTSD
Yeah.
from that imbalanced kind of
Yeah.
relationships, because
Yeah.
it really was. But it gave me a better understanding, so it was easier for me to somewhat present forgiveness for
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
Because many times the results of that, it makes it feel like you're doing something wrong,
Right.
and you're not. It's the other
Exactly.
person who's
Exactly.
transferring that kind of guilt and energy on you. And then it made me a little bit easier to be somewhat more forgiveness to myself, which
Mhm.
I think is important.
Yeah.
But I what really moved me to read Ayanna Van Zandt's book was when I was introduced and found out she wrote a book called The Spirit of a Man.
Mhm.
That was a very moving book. And I want to say to all men out here who are listening to, if there are some men that listen to, if you want to read a good book that was written by a woman, and I'll say a sister, if you may want to say, because she is, that could move you and give you some insight to your spirit, I suggest you read that book. It was a very good book to me. I read it when I was flying back to St. Louis, when St. Louis was basically winning into baseball and football, and I was doing some work from Anheuser-Busch. And so I flew back on the plane. I read that whole book. I was so intrigued. I couldn't put the book down. And it
Mhm.
really moved my very spirit in being more conscious of who I am as a man and who I am and should be in my response
Right.
as a man to this world, beyond the caretaker, beyond the protector. There are so many other things that are deep within that I did not understand, especially
Mhm.
coming out without a father, no
Yeah.
example, that really helped me out. And one of the things that really touched me before, because I used to say, I'm not really going to read anything too much from another woman to try to tell something to me as being a man.
Yeah.
Even though I lived with my mom all
Who
those years,
did
who
it?
was always telling me what to
Yes.
do and how to
Yes.
do it. I said, I one thing that really touched me was that a lot of her information that she said she got about helping out male was from another male who was
Mhm.
her jinsei,
Yeah.
her teacher.
Yeah.
He was a Yoruba priestess,
Mhm.
a very old
Priest.
wise priest. Thank you, priest, a very old wise elder who
Mhm.
taught her these principles.
Yeah.
And she took those principles and then put them down. Now, to me, the circle of life of another wise male,
Mhm.
Yoruba, from our history country or our land, if you may, once I put
Right.
Africa,
Right.
and passed it on to a sister who was able to then put it down in writing to move in such a way that touched me. Well, it did touch me when I read it.
Right.
It made it even that much more palatable, if you want to use the word,
Mhm.
for me to read it. So I just want to give a suggestion out there. Some of the brothers, you can, if you want to, pick that book up, call in there. The what is it? The male spirit,
The soul of
the
a
soul of a
man.
man, from Ayana Van Zam. You'll really love that book. You really like it. It's really moving. It moved me, changed a lot of things about me.
Yeah.
It really did, from the inside, and pulled away a lot of that guilt that there's
Mhm.
something wrong with
Yeah.
you. There's something always going to be wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're never going to be right. Some of the things I kind of heard from my mom sometimes, how
Mhm.
she presented, or sometimes our cultural society will say that to some of
Yes.
our males. I mean, it gets so bad, and not necessarily in the black community, though it does happen. Sometimes outside the black community, you get that concept that you're a monster. You're
Yeah.
just a monster.
Yeah.
And they have a movie that just came out, by the way, not too long ago.
Couple
Called
years ago.
exactly.
Few years
In
ago.
fact, it was supposed to be Jamie Foxx directed that movie called A Monster. Very good movie. And what's that other poetry say, that I was branded a beast before I ever was a man?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was very helpful to me. I think it
Mhm.
has a lot to do with why I can get on the radio and get on what we're on this stream video and
Uh-huh.
speak the way I speak, because of that change that's in that has came through that and other experience in
Yeah.
life, from that end, as being what I call an ultimate observer when it comes to
Right.
relationships. Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing that you mentioned that, simply
Mhm.
because um men always recognize the baggage that women bring into the relationship,
Mhm.
but they don't always recognize theirs.
Yes.
They don't often see that they're bringing baggage too, and that it needs to be dealt with.
Mhm. Oh, if they do, they don't want to see it. If you present
Exactly.
it to them, no,
Exactly.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Let me avoid this.
No, I'm good. I'm not the one with the problem. She's
Mhm.
got the problem because
Mhm.
she acts this way, she acts that way,
Mhm.
not realizing or wanting to realize that she acts this way because of how you act. Not saying that she's free and clear either,
Mhm.
but sometimes you can be compatible, but your baggage isn't.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so
Stinks.
yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So no matter how good and close and wonderfully compatible your relationship is,
Mhm.
when those little triggers happen, you're like oil and water.
Yeah.
And so both of you need to handle those your baggage, kind of you know
Get my mic
start
straight here.
yeah,
Mhm.
start unpacking and sending some stuff to
Sitting at home.
no, sending it to places like Goodwill, getting it out of your closet,
Oh,
getting it,
really?
you know, sending it to somebody who knows how to use it properly.
Or wants to use it, or don't even need it at all.
Yeah,
I
or
think that
burn it.
I think, yeah, I was going to say some of it needs to be burnt
Yeah.
without burning the whole damn house down. Yeah,
Exactly,
some people will do
exactly.
that. They're like angry. I'm burning the whole damn house down.
Yeah.
Hey, what about this? Without speaking in detail, this thought about burning the house down. Where we are staying right now, there's been 2 within a month, young African American couples who have actually had a suicide murder in the
Yeah.
same city
Yeah.
within the last
A
month,
couple of months.
and they were young to it at with
Yeah.
kids.
Yes.
I don't know why no one's talking about it. I don't know what, except for we brought it up. I don't know why no one's looking into that.
Mm-hmm.
How could that happen coincidentally in 2 months? Both of them,
And
one in shot to death, the other particular wife in a store and then shot themselves. The other
Mhm.
one
Did it at home.
did it at home and
Yeah.
left kids behind. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what
Yeah.
is going on like that in 1 month? That be that kind of stress to happen in that relationship.
Yeah.
Certainly in the area what we're talking about, compatibility is not going on in that relationship to
Yeah.
drive it to that point, to that anger, to that rage, excuse me, that
Yes.
they would take that person would take the other person's life
Mm-hmm.
and then take their life to at the same time.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with um, stress and the stressors that are going on,
Yeah.
and you know, and that's one of those things that when you're taking care of one another,
Hmm.
even within that sense of compatibility, where it
Hmm.
says, right here, you both are adjusting and resolve conflicts.
Hmm.
If you're not compatible in adjusting conflicts, things will get out of hand, or they will just get ignored to the point that uh, they grow and they build. Um, I just had somebody tell me today about their brother-in-law dying a
Hmm.
few months ago, um, because he and his wife were having an argument because he was driving drunk. And when he came home and he was drunk and he had been driving, she started arguing with him because he was driving drunk, and they'd been having a conflict about that for a while.
Hmm.
And he walked into the bedroom, took a gun out the drawer, and killed himself
Oh
right
wow.
in front of her.
Mm.
Um, we need,
Was this a black couple?
mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
We've got to figure out how to resolve these conflicts, especially if you're in a compatible relationship. If the two of you are compatible, um, you've got to.
I'm gonna have to strongly disagree. They probably were not in a compatible relationship at that time.
I know, but
Not at
one of
that time. Then I
no,
mean, if
not
you
at
want to
that
speak to
time.
maybe before, yes, and they
Yeah,
grew out of it
not at
because
that time,
because
definitely.
relationships go by seasons,
Uh-huh.
and we know that
Yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts.
yeah.
We know there's no such thing as perfect, so balance on the
Mhm.
job is there. So I'm not saying that there wasn't some compatibility, but there
But
could not have
not
been
at
a
that
compatibility at that
particular
time.
time. No,
No.
no, and that was obvious by the fact that they were having an argument
Hmm.
about something that was ongoing.
Yeah.
That and maybe they had been both in that situation at one time, and she had changed.
Hmm.
I don't know the ins and outs of that,
Hmm.
but um, the fact that there was no compatibility going on, in as there was no agreement, I'll put it that way. There was no agreement on how that situation should be. But I feel like there was, in the situations that you were talking
Hmm.
about, and there had been a breakdown someplace
Yes.
where they were no longer communicable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside influence can also break into the relationships
Yes.
and cause problem. We were talking about how one of the strongest outside influence that we all know about when it comes to compatible relationships that have been coming on the TVs and the movies and soap operas too, but
Mm-hmm.
that is a career that's strongly right now that has also caused to this thing we're talking about is what is that what is that career that is strongly connected to people being compatible in a relationship?
The police.
Yeah, the police number one.
Yeah.
Next one is fire
Yeah.
people, but
Yeah.
most of the time it's the police that
Yeah. First
basically
responders.
exactly that they show. I'm kind of catching this phone call real quickly, somebody important, I
Yes.
think, but anyway, they are the
I don't
ones that
think it
use.
was you.
Yeah, you think it was?
No,
Yeah, it
I don't
was.
think it was you.
So it basically that's that kind of relationship which you talked about before as an example of a compatible
Yeah.
relationship can
Yeah.
also cause a relationship to go that far as you just
Mm-hmm.
talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because there's still stress.
Hmm.
Even if you're in a compatible relationship, there's still stress.
And how much more easier in that relationship if it's compatible because of the fact that you can rely and lean on things that are similar. You can have easy comprehension of things when it comes to perspectives in life, because you're dealing with perspectives in life that can be moving parts.
Yes.
And how much better in those moving parts: lack of job, increase in wages, child dying, and your kids getting on your nerves, a neighborhood giving you some problems, things happening,
possibilities of being fired.
Exactly.
You know,
Neighbors giving you a hard time. Well, I did say that before, didn't
yeah.
I?
Hate your job.
Yeah. Well, political climate right now,
Oh
which
yeah.
is causing so much
Yeah.
polarities in
Yeah.
families, from race
Definitely.
issues to the sexual bias issues, the lack of
Mhm.
jobs,
Yeah.
and poverty, and of course the virus too.
Finances. And
Exactly.
finances are like
That
way
is one
up
of the
here
high ones.
because I mean everything that is leading to the necessity of life, housing, food, gasoline, you know, those things are so high priced now that
Mhm.
those are stressors.
That's been a high
Yeah.
thing on the list of causing
Yeah.
relationships to fall apart. So
Yeah.
when you have each other having comprehension of perspectives in life,
Mhm.
maybe in perspective in life where I've been poor before, so I understand that
Yeah.
it's not about material
And
things.
I don't want to be
and-
poor again.
or if someone has that and you don't have that,
Yes.
that's an incompatibility right
Yes, it
there.
is.
The
Yes, it is.
compatibility is that you?
No.
Was you speaking that about you all of a sudden?
No.
But I'm just saying, if someone had that and the one didn't have that, that would be an incompatibility. The comprehension that I'm talking about is both have had that experience of being poor,
Exactly.
knowing that it's not all about finances or material
Exactly.
things. So that if we're going through tough times, we still have ourselves, though we in turn don't have the physical things that we used to have before.
Yeah.
But we now know that what's important is our concern and care and sharing and connection to one
Yeah.
another. And we definitely have not let material things actually base ourselves on who we are
Yeah.
and who our worth is.
Yeah. And that's I want to clear something up
Mhm.
by the way you said,
No,
was
you
that
can't now.
me?
You already said it.
The way you said, was
Now you
that
already
me?
said it.
No, no,
You a
no.
gold digger,
I'm not.
you know it.
I'm
No,
not
I'm
going
just joking. Look at the way you laugh.
I'm like,
I'm joking.
I
I'm
know,
joking.
I know.
I'm joking. What?
But I
Mhm.
wanted to make it clear because the way I said, when you said,
Mhm.
was that me about,
Mhm.
you know, the being poor and everything. And I
Mhm.
said, no. And I didn't want
I
to
know you
give
came
that.
from a poor
I didn't want to
background.
give that impression
Mhm.
that I came up very well to do. Oh no, I came up poor, but with the illusion of having everything I needed.
Illusion of no inclusion.
Well, it was inclusion, but I didn't.
You don't have to apologize
I
later.
believed. I thought I had everything I needed
Mhm.
to the extent that I learned how to live well poor,
I think
and I still do
a
that.
lot of in our days, a
Yeah.
lot of African Americans did not grow up well off. I
Mhm.
grew under welfare.
Yeah.
I know where you grew up. If it was like up north, you'd be under welfare too. But the thing about it is, we learned to love each other, care about each other,
Yeah.
in the price on us was not valued according to a material object, a
Right.
material thing.
Right.
So we felt we were somewhat a loving family, not knowing we are poor as ditch mouses.
Exactly.
From that end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I will say, anytime I came from very humble beginnings, but I
Mhm.
came from loving, humble beginnings.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and that makes all the difference, I
It
think.
does. Hey, listen, on WRUU, you can also listen to a lot of this, another perspective of some of our topics. Where it's 107.5. It's every what again, Sharon? Get me right. Get me right.
It's every Saturday morning at
Mhm.
9 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
on WRUU.
Little short commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was
Yes.
doing.
Oh, you know what? Can
What's
we do
that?
another little short
Yeah, what
commercial?
commercial is that?
The little short commercial about
Mhm.
River Street.
Oh, well, go ahead. You do that commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every third weekend,
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have an event on River Street. It's the third weekend, Artists, Crafters, and Entertainment Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always looking for vendors, food vendors, arts and crafts vendors. You know, and we also look for sponsors and various capacities. And if you are not a vendor,
Look on the bottom there.
come down and on River Street and have
You can look
some
below. See it
yes,
going by.
scrolling down at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and have some fun with us and listen to the music and dance and enjoy the river party on Friday and Saturday night from 8 to 10, and purchase something from our micro entrepreneurs, which are our vendors.
Exactly, exactly. Hey, we're looking also too for some more African American vendors to be part of our show. We need some more down the River Street, and have people from all over the world take a look at your product, pick up your product. It's a good marketplace for you as
Yeah.
a micro entrepreneur to do your thing. We're starting to do some partnership with the city finally, and that will help us out on helping you out on River Street to be successful as your own business person, not necessarily have to have a boss tell you what to do. You'll be
Right.
the boss.
And
You will be the boss.
the only thing is, if you are interested in being a vendor, you have to hand make whatever it is you sell.
Yeah, at least for right now.
For right
Maybe
now,
sometime we might
yes.
going to try to change that to
And so
make it kind of fair and equitable
equitable.
for all folks. So where were we before we went on that shameful plug of ours?
You know what?
Was that
I'm kind of proud of it.
okay?
So
where was you was before?
Shameful. Where we were before, we
Mhm.
were talking about see, now you just kind of messed me up here.
Mhm.
We were talking about how wonderful it is to be in a compatible relationship.
Does everybody here remember what she forgot? It wasn't me. She forgot it. It wasn't me. I wasn't in the window. It wasn't me.
Now we were talking about growing up
Yes.
and being
We're talking about the perspectives in life.
yeah.
That part of compatibility is having things that are common. So
Mhm.
if you both had the same kind of perspective, we were lucky because we were born in the same kind of year pattern
Yeah.
or era, if you may want to say,
Exactly.
as baby boom.
Exactly.
So that made it easier us from that end.
Mhm.
Black folks weren't doing all too well back then in
No,
the 60s
no
and
matter
70s.
where they
Really,
were.
exactly. It's like, so that helped out. Being compatible helps you along with your other half, or in this case with you.
Mhm.
It also helps out when you do some contracting opinions, because some of your contracting opinions, is the same right?
Contrasting.
Are not so off center at times that that I can't somewhat understand it.
Yes.
Because it still comes out of our same kind of era. And of course, I think about my mom and my sisters, some of the sisters I dated and dealt with. Sometimes they can say some things that are more feelings and not necessarily logical
Yeah.
in that manner. And I
Yeah.
still can go, okay, yeah, I heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's
helpful. That's helpful.
definitely, because you know, at that point, unless it was a negative thing that you got,
Mhm.
you don't take it as a personal. You don't
I,
take it
I
personal.
try not to. I try
Yeah.
not to. Remember we talked about before that if you carry some of your garbage in or baggage in
Mhm.
from your first relationship, and then many times that baggage, if you haven't learned how to love yourself and share, you will then transfer that on that other particular person, like you have did sometimes with me. And
Mhm.
when that happens, it has me kind of frustrated over
Yeah.
that particular matter, and then it brings back memories,
Right. Right.
and makes it hard for me to be that much more understanding, especially when you say something that's really off.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily connected to our conversation. I'm like, why in the hell did you even say that
Yeah.
in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, being when you're very sensitive over something that is just basic,
Mhm.
and you know, something is said that is meant as just something that's just thrown out there, maybe even a joke or something,
Mhm.
but it's one of those sensitive triggers that you have that can cause conflicts
That's
too.
why you got to smile, laugh over, and say it's just a joke.
Joking.
Exactly. That's what you have to
But
do.
sometimes even at that point, the damage is done.
True.
The trigger has already been
True.
pulled.
True.
Yeah.
True. That does
Yeah.
happen.
And then at that point, when you go, just joking, it just adds insult to injury.
You know what a person said to me one time? It's like having a fence, and then someone takes a shotgun and shoots at the fence, and the pellets go through the fence. You can come back later on and paint over that fence, but if you do nothing to patch those holes up, no matter how good you paint that fence, those pellet holes are still
Going to
there.
be there. Yeah.
So that's the same thing that kind of
Yeah.
describes what you're saying.
Mhm.
That's why it's important that good compatibility brings understanding, acceptance, and a strong interdependent relationship.
Yeah.
Good compatibility is what we're referring to.
Absolutely.
And those kind of things that we're talking about are that are not good compatibility, but we want to move it to be good compatibility,
Mhm.
better perception of one another. having those commonalities in our lifestyle helps us out, no doubt about it. Working on them so that they can become a actual expression in reality in the relationship
Mhm.
is all part of growing, all part of having a healthy, balanced relationship.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, very wonderful. We thought maybe we would have some questions, especially as strong that we've been talking about, but it looks like we're almost coming. Oh, almost, sir. What do you see?
I see that we have maybe 1, 2 minutes at the most left over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to close up. But listen, if you enjoyed what we talked about, do you think they did?
I think so.
If you got something out of this
Keeping hope
relationship,
alive.
yeah, exactly. If you did, which we know you did, take it with you, share it with others, understanding that compatibility in your relationship is something that you want to use to go into your relationship, and compatibility is something that you want to use in your relationship.
Yeah.
Just think about the cops and the fire people. How much more do they have to be relationships, in good relationships or comfortable relationships and compatible relationships, because they're in life and death situations? Should you not think about that same thing in your relationship, that you're in a life and death situation, not a life and death situation that you're going to cause, but a life and death situation that could come from the outside to cause it, or you may have to get involved with it, just as they do as being our public services. We got to think about the same thing with our relationships, because we want the best for our relationships too, don't we?
We
Best and
definitely
blessed.
do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Wow.
And make sure you talk to your children about this too, especially if you have children of the age that's going into relationships, building relationships, learning how to choose mates and people that they want to associate with. Because I talk to kids all the time and I listen to their conversations, and they're not doing too well. They're not faring a whole lot better than we did.
Yeah.
As far as making those choices.
Well, we got to get ready to go. Next time we'll talk about signs of relationship compatibility, so you can know if you're in a compatible relationship, or the signs that you can use to get into one or create one. Until next time, Ashe, God bless, and keep that relationship and make sure you work it together.
Like this.